my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. For me over here, it is about midnight. This is about my preferred time of day. No people up, a lot less stimulation. So this generally tends to be about the time I prefer to record booktube. Sometimes you'll see me record in about a half hour to hour period of time that I have in the early morning, but this is my least pressed period of time. Everyone's asleep, and I have my choice of recording location. So I have several videos that I hope to record before people start making stirrings in the house. Can't remember if I introduced myself. Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. I have the memory of like a gnat sometimes, so I might repeat myself at times. I move my phone out of my way. So the first video that I want to do is, I hope to record several times. Whoop, that phone's going to fall. I hope to record several times, but I want to first do, as the title says, a video on the bird books that I have and some of the reference books that I keep on my desk. So I believe that I showed already the bird trivia book and the Backyard Birds of Virginia book. And even though particularly this one is more of a bird guide or field guide than it is like a traditional reading book, I am trying to read like a bird a day. Just kind of look over it just to get a passing familiarity. I'm not sure if I remember, I mentioned the previous video on bird books, but we have in our backyard, besides several other, a couple of hanging feeders and, normal like house-looking feeder, we also have a feeder with a camera that's got like a platform on it, and it's very nice for the finches, for the sparrows. Sometimes our cowbirds will go there. Our mourning doves will go there, although only one mourning dove at a time. Our mourning doves found out the hard way that two of them will not fit on there. They both bumped into each other, and they very politely were like, oh no, oh, I'm sorry, let me leave. And they both decided to leave at the same time instead of like one of them leaving. But we also get our cardinals there. Haven't yet gotten a blue jay, but I don't think blue jays prefer the platform. I think they prefer some of the other feeders that we have. So those are generally the ones that we'll see. I don't think we've yet had our goldfinch there, but I have to check back videos, recordings. But so yeah, that has been increasing my desire to learn more about the birds because I keep an eye on them on my phone. We also are going to set up a hummingbird feeder with a camera. And we do seem to get at least a couple of hummingbirds in this area. We get a smaller one that is they are small, but we get the ruby-throated hummingbird. Is it only ruby-throated? I was thinking about the woodpecker, although we do also get woodpeckers at our feeder. I haven't yet seen it at the platform feeder, though. I guess it is the ruby-throated, as far as this book says. This book doesn't have the whole gamut of birds that we see necessarily, but this is a good beginner one. I have my really fun woodpecker magnetic bookmark for this, and I am currently on the cowbird, which is probably one of my favorite ones. If you're not familiar with the cowbird, they are considered parasitic insofar as rather than build their own nests and take care of their own young, they put their own eggs in other birds' nests, even to the detriment of the other birds' eggs. And they trick other birds into taking care of their young. And apparently that has something to do with the fact that when cowbirds would keep up with herds, they didn't have the ability to take care of their own young, so they would just make other birds do it for them. So there's something about that just really cracks me up, so I've always had a bit of a fondness for the cowbird. Now, I haven't seen them in herds as much recently, We used to, in previous years, used to have to see like a blanket of cowbirds on our yard. I haven't noticed as much this year. I'm not sure if they've decided, like, for example, they like this one feeder, because I see them a lot on this feeder, particularly in the early morning. Because a lot of times they tend to be ground feeders, but they also like the platform. So, yeah. But that's where I'm at in this one. Just reading, like I said, a bird at a time. This bird trivia one, I'm trying to make my way through it fairly quickly because this is going to become family property in the bathroom. So the quicker I read this, the more quickly it'll become available for everyone else in the house. I need to find a place to put this where it's out of my way. Now, this one I don't think I had to show last time. Well, I think this one is my North America one in general. So if nothing else fails, I'll flip through this if I can't find a bird. I'm still looking for a bird that I saw the other day, and I haven't yet been able to determine what it is. At first I thought it was a catbird, but upon closer looking, it really doesn't look like a catbird. It's got like a kind of grayish body. It's about the size of a cowbird, maybe a little bit bigger. And it's got like this black, it looks like almost a diamond in the back of its head. And it's kind of aggressive. It would chase all the other birds away from the platform feeder, like aggressively. And I haven't seen it in a while. I've taken some pictures and I keep hoping I'll see it in one of these field guides. At first I thought it was a female cowbird until I actually saw a female cowbird. So I still haven't figured out what it is. It doesn't have the right beak to be a catbird. A catbird has more of a pointed beak, and this bird has more of the beak like a cowbird does. So I still haven't been able to figure out what it is. Hopefully I'll eventually figure it out. And this, like I said, is for all North America. This is put out by Smithsonian, DK. Good book. Ugh, that thing's heavy. Now this is my other Virginia field guide, and it's got a lot more in the way of birds. Like, I really hope to see the scarlet tanager at some point. Just like the other one, it puts them in order of size. Aw, I want to see yellow warbler. I'm hoping some of these smaller ones will show up. This one I see a lot, and I love this one, the chipping sparrow. He's so cute. I want to see a titmouse. Just so many pretty birds. But I want to show the cowbird beak before I go. Oh, we have seen this. Not a lot, but we have seen, oh, he's run away now. A red-winged blackbird. Red-winged blackbird. It's been a while since I've seen one, but we have seen it in this area. Yeah, here, the cowbird's beak is kind of, oh, it's better in the other book. Because the picture's a little bigger. You see, it's got more of that, because it's in the crow family. Crow and raven, that kind of family. So it has more of that beak. So I probably need to look through that family of birds and see if maybe some of the birds in that family are one of my one of the suspects for that particular bird. Because I haven't seen it in a while. Okay. Now this one, I know I haven't shown. And I have in here, top of it's being kind of bent. I think this is a macaw. And I just love the fell asleep here part of it. I unfortunately can foresee this part getting broken off eventually just because I'm always dropping my books. But this is What It's Like to Be a Bird. From Flying, Nesting, Eating to Singing, What Birds Are Doing and Why by David Allen Sibley. Honestly, this would have been a great book when my mom was homeschooling us because it talks about different foraging methods. It talks about variations in birds, and then it goes into the different birds and like things like here's this particular one's digestion. So it goes into interesting facts about different ones. Like there was something in here about cardinals and how some of them will just like start losing feathers around their head, and like it's not something to be terribly concerned about. The feathers will grow back, kind of thing. So yeah, this is it's drawings versus photographs, and it just has some like fun facts about whatever bird it chooses to speak on. Sparrows. Yeah, this is just one of those books that I can see nesting site called a robin. Just if you wanted to get a kid into birds, I think this would be the kind of one book to use for that, because it has enough in the way of fun facts without necessarily being too in depth. Maybe like for a summer program for kids, nothing too intense, just something summer, for the family to say, hey, let's go ahead and like learn about birds. Because learning doesn't need to stop at the end of the school year, and this kind of thing could encourage a love of learning. Crow with the key. I'm not going to find the cardinal right away. It looks like there's wrens. There was a really cool picture of a male cardinal with his feathers that kind of, like I said, almost looked like he was molting. Yeah, I'll find it eventually, but not at this moment, apparently. But yeah. So this is this. Oh, here we go. So he looks almost like a turkey there, but it's a northern cardinal with all its head feathers missing. And normally when they molt, they do so gradually, but look a little ragged, but fully feathered throughout. But occasionally, cardinal loses all its head feathers at once, revealing the dark gray skin and ear opening. The feathers soon grow back, and there's little risk to being bald for a short time, as long as the weather is not too cold or wet. This condition has been recorded mainly in a few suburban species in eastern North America. One blue jay kept in captivity also molted all its head feathers this way for 8 years in a row, suggesting that this can be a normal strategy, but it's still not clear why it is triggered in some individuals. So I thought that was interesting. I've never seen this, but someone who watches our knitting podcast, when we showed this book, because I received it, the mail arrived while we were podcasting, so I opened the book on podcast, and someone that watched us said, yeah, I've actually seen cardinals that have had that molting around the head, which is kind of interesting because, we get a lot of cardinals in this area, but I've never seen a cardinal have that. So those are the bird books. I really look forward to that one. That one looks like it's a lot of fun, but I want to finish either the field guide or the little trivia one first. Now, reference books, the other part of this video. I do like to keep a few reference books on my desk. I did at one point, and I ended up giving it to my mom. I have a big old Oxford American English dictionary, but it's so huge that it was a little bit, it's a little heavy, and it just wasn't the most convenient to use. So even though this doesn't have everything I might want, this might have enough for me not to immediately have to go to the internet to look something up if I'm reading a physical book versus a Kindle. So just if I need a quick reference. On the same area, I have the Oxford Thesaurus. So I wish this one was a little bit bigger and had a little bit more to it, but it is a convenient size for my desk, and it's a good starting point. Along the same idea, I didn't think I would keep this one, but this is an older book. It's the Oxford Dictionary for Writers and Editors, and there's also a big writers, Oxford American Writers Dictionary. But again, I didn't want a necessarily big one on my desk. And this has references, there are things in here like common Latin words that are used sometimes in books, which can be really useful when you're reading a lot of nonfiction. It'll have references to common people that might be in there historically. So they have example, Du Bois Raymond, so Emile Du Bois Raymond, they tell who that is, a 1818 to 1896 German physiologist. So, and it also shows not Du Bois in 2 words. So that's, and right underneath that they have Duke, D-U-C, and I forget what they said was Latin or French. I turned away from that. French. So it'll say, okay, well, this means Duke, and then feminine is Duchess. So this is nice for things that are not necessarily where you don't necessarily need a definition in the same way as something like this would provide. This is more of something that a writer might need, or if you're reading a lot in the way of history, I think this is useful because sometimes you'll have Latin phrases, French phrases scattered throughout, or references, quick reference to a person that you have not previously read about. So that's where this comes in use. Some of the other reference books I keep on my desk is, this one's come in a lot of use, I've shown it before, my Understanding Illuminated Manuscripts, A Guide to Technical Terms. This is by Michelle P. Brown, and I have gotten so much use out of this. Besides having, lovely pictures, it just uses definitions. I probably should put my Tolkien reference book with these, so it's not taking up the space that it is, and it's easier to access. The other one, which I should make more use of, I just got this. My mom and I did a trade of books that she was going to get rid of and I was going to get rid of, and was like, okay, well, how about we do an exchange? Because we're trying to make more room for our books. This is English to the Ages, so it'll have, and it has it broken up by era, so they have in use by 1825, in use by the 1700s, 1600s, and they have it in kind of like, okay, so 1470, in use by 1470, here's geography, places, cloth, clothing, so they have it by era and by section, which is cool. I'm trying to find something that's another section, because I had cloth, clothing. I wanted to find another example. General miscellaneous. So this is cool, especially with how much history I read. Sometimes words do not maintain their same meaning, and if something doesn't show up in my small OED, it might show up in this English to the Ages. This one, I'm really glad that I was made to promise if I ever wanted to get rid of this, I would give this back to my mom. But I won't be wanting to get rid of this. This seems like the kind of book I would hoard. Partially because I have a character that I'm writing, nothing serious, it's just my mom and I have been writing a shared story together for 15 plus years, just for our own enjoyment, and one of my characters is a fantasy. So one of my characters is a physician, so he wouldn't have need of using herbs. Even though in a fantasy world you don't necessarily have the same herbs, but it's nice to maybe take from reality and pull from that. So this is Brother Cadfael's Herb Garden, an illustrated companion to medieval plants and their uses. Ooh, I might have to check out that one, medieval plants and their uses. Let me do a quick search for that one, because that would be an excellent book to have. And this book is dedicated to Ellis Peters. Medieval plants and their use. I just want to have that pulled up so that way I don't forget about it. Medieval plants. Now, they used to believe that if a plant looked like something, it could be used as a cure for that thing. And I can't pull an exact example from my head. I forget even where I read it. Okay, Medieval Plants and Their Uses by Michael Brown. So that is something that I will... There we go. Because... Yes, please. And that will go with my other reference books. I'll have to try to find a better price for that, though, because that's a little bit on the expensive end. Especially for that number of pages, only 184 pages. So I'll do a little more research, try to find a better price. But yeah, since it is supposed to be an illustrated companion to the other one, and if the other one's not illustrated, I'll just get it on Kindle. So it has things like bramble, briar, just all these different ones, what it can be used for, lavender, common or English. Not necessarily even what it's used for now. I'm assuming it is what it was used for during the time of Cadfael. And this could also be very nice as a companion while reading Cadfael. So this is a nice little desk reference book that I have. So that is it for this video. I want to check my time, see if I have enough time to record more. Yes, I do. So thank you very much for joining me for this bird/reference book edition, and I will go into recording the next video. Hope that you have a very blessed day, night, whatever it is for you, and I will see you for the next video. God bless. Bye-bye.